Welcome, everybody. I'm Rick DiClemente with StarSelf.com, and this is Astrology Unplugged. Tonight, we'll be doing charts of individuals, and we may do more than one person. We have a new person with us. John is his name. And welcome, John. We're going to be looking at your chart with a lot of planets in Gemini. Very unusual chart, and I want to show you the different kinds. Now, I want to say something to you before I go any further, because the country's in such dire shape. Do you know in the old days, you may not know this, but as I was a filmmaker, and one of the ways they make films to make a dreamy sequence, they put Vaseline around the lens. They put Vaseline around the lens, and that makes the picture real fuzzy and dreamy on the outside. Well, that's what our president's going through, but at all times in a whole can of Vaseline, okay? The president has the sun in Gemini opposite the moon. I'm telling you this because it's a big deal. The sun is opposite the moon. Matter of fact, he's born during an eclipse. And Neptune is at a right angle right now. He's born with Neptune square to Mercury. He's a Gemini, his ruling planet. So he's already got a bunch of Vaseline all over his head. Right now, Neptune is squaring his sun and moon, and will be for at least another year and a half. This is like taking somebody from the mental level off the hospital and give them a bunch of drugs that make them even fuzzier. So, heavy delusion. And I told you his chart rules the country. So this is what's happening. And lots of us are living in this dream world with this guy. Oh, I hope it's going to go away. I hope it is. So I wanted you to know that. It's very heavy duty, very strong. You hit your sun and moon at the same time. Now, great big if he were ready to make a spiritual revolution and start destroying his ego and start to let love into his heart and start to go forward with whatever religion or spirituality he's in, this is the best time ever. But a person like this just doesn't have the capacity. He just doesn't have the ability. The energies are too foreign, so forget that. I just wanted to let you know that some people, when Neptune hits them, they have a wonderful spiritual awakening. Now, I've been led to do John's chart. We'll see what else happens tonight. Hello, Linda. Let's just get right to it, because I like to talk about other things, but I like to bring you back to the subject. Night number 181, I think it is. We do charts here because you learn to do charts. Now, one of the things I want to tell you that you've been seeing bits and pieces of, you cannot overemphasize how important it is when a planet is along an angle. Not a planet in a sign, not a sun in Gemini, not Mercury in Gemini, but a planet on an angle. The four angles of the chart, the one that goes across the chart is the ascendant and descendant, and the midheaven at the top and the nadir at the bottom. Those are the structure upon which the whole chart sits. They're determined totally by the birth time. And that whole chart rotates once per day. And when a planet ends up on one of the angles, that planet is really emphasized, what you keep in mind. So John is a Gemini, but he's not a Gemini. He's a real heavy-duty Scorpio with a bunch of Gemini. You see, we got to get out of our thinking, all this stuff identifying with these sun signs. That we read these columns, read these articles. We're not our sun signs. Some people are pretty much like it. They are. A lot of people aren't. Let's look at John's chart. Well, how did that go away? Be that way. All right, let's do that. Here's John's chart. This is not a misprint. Sun in Gemini, Saturn in Gemini, Uranus in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, and Jupiter in Gemini. 5 planets. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the rest of the chart yet. When I have had charts like this that are so cerebral, just because of all the Gemini is here because of epistemology. They want to learn how the brain works. And John has done a lot of things in his life I've learned from personal emails. But I guarantee you, his spiritual quest and all this stuff is there. But behind it all is this tremendous curiosity with all the Gemini to learn how the brain works. How does the mind work? That's what Gemini is really about. Okay. You got 5 planets there. Now, when I've had children brought to me that have 5 planets in Gemini, or 6 planets, or 4 planets, and I've had different mothers bring their children to me because they're labeled ADHD, given all these drugs and all that. I don't know what that was. Oh, bud. I tell them I'm not a doctor, but one of the things I've had great success with, because these kids have tremendous mental energy. They're just really curious and they're thinking all the time. They can't sleep. What I've had them do, and I've had great success, is put the child enlisted in martial arts. And I don't mean the martial arts that's the kind of with trophies and all that. I'm a badass. But I mean the kind where they learn discipline. And they learn to get that nervous energy out of their system and learn to discipline it and corral it. And I've had a real good success with that. Now, let's get to the chart. All right. There's absolutely no way that anybody can sit here and interpret what 5 planets in Gemini mean. Now, just so happens the Sun moved on next month, Mercury moved on next month, Jupiter stayed here for a year, Uranus stayed here for 7 years, Saturn stayed here for 2 years. So it just happenstance that John happened to have all these planets. So you got to zoom in. What do you see? Saturn is 4 degrees from the Sun. Uranus is 6 degrees from the Sun. This indicates partial genius or maybe genius. Whenever you have real strong relationships with Uranus, you have somebody's chiming in. I think they're in a department store. 3rd floor lingerie. I don't know what that noise is. Mercury is conjunct Jupiter. These are all in Gemini. Mercury is the ruling planet. It's in Gemini. Jupiter's in Gemini. Jupiter's already tremendously curious. So you've got this guy just by analyzing the Gemini, a tremendous brain, just this way ahead of his time mentally, and he just can't get enough. And he wants to learn about this thing, he wants to learn about that. It's just tremendous amount. And I was studying his past lives and everything, trying to put all this together. But I want to halt there. And one of the best things you can do as an early astrologer is use a pencil. Don't go in with a pen, like, I know what that means, because you don't. Go in with a pencil. Make little sketches, little ideas, okay? Then this chart will start to repeat itself, the themes in the chart. Then you can slowly replace the pencil with a pen. Okay, let's go right to the heart of the story. I'm losing my voice once again. Pluto is 350. The ascendant is 107. The birth time is 10 o'clock in the morning. So we know automatically you can't trust the birth time. You can't trust it because very few people, 1 out of 60 people are born right on the hour. This could be anywhere from 5 minutes till 5 minutes after. We don't know. There are ways to figure out, but we know the birth time is around 10 a.m. Okay? Pennsylvania has wonderful, beautiful records at the state Department of Vital Statistics. They have records on just about everybody that was born in Pennsylvania, unless you're like 100 years old. So Pluto is so close to the ascendant. I want you to look at Pluto like this. Pluto is this big in this chart. The Gemini is this big. That's how powerful this Pluto is, because it's just rising. It's rising. If this chart, this birth time is right, and the ascendant changes 1 degree for every 3 minutes and 56 seconds. So every 4 minutes, this ascendant changes by 1 degree. Then approximately, if he were born 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later, Pluto would have risen. This is the east in astrology. That's the west. Now it's daytime, so you can't see anything. Sun's shining. All these planets, you can't see anything. So you wouldn't have seen Pluto anyway. It's too far away. Pluto was rising with Chiron. So you know right away that John is really, really heavy-duty Scorpio. Why? Because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. Even though the chart is ruled by the sun, because sun is the ruler of Leo, the chart is ruled by the sun, this chart is ruled by Pluto, because Pluto is so powerful, and there it is. So the first thing I do, when my eye catches that Pluto after about 4 seconds, the first thing I do with a chart like this is I start to say to myself, what's in common with Gemini energy and Scorpio energy? And what's different? This is really, really, really important. Okay, what's in common? Geminis are inquisitive. Pluto Scorpios are very inquisitive. Geminis are inquisitive because, more facts, more data, more information. Boy, I can file that away. Look at this, look at this. I got to call them, got to let them know, got to call them. That's Gemini. Scorpio's not that way. Scorpios, I want to get some more information so I can get behind the scenes and see what the hell is really going on. It's investigative, okay? But they're both curious. One is more of a lateral learning, that's Gemini. One is deep learning, that's Scorpio. So we know the guy's really, really curious. You notice I haven't even stopped to ask him a question yet, because I'm showing you what's certain in the chart first. We'll get John involved at the right time, whenever it happens. What's different? Well, the Gemini is very surface and doesn't want to go deep, because while it's going deep, it's missing all these parties. And the Scorpio doesn't want to go along the surface because it wants to go deep. Remember, Scorpio is all about, I think somebody's microphone is on. That's what's causing this noise. Let me check this out here. Let's check and see. No, I'm wrong. Okay, so one of the differences, Scorpio wants to go deep and Gemini wants to go sideways. It's a very peculiar thing in astrology to see how many Scorpio men end up married to Gemini women. I'm talking about lots, or I wouldn't even bring it up. They're not compatible. They're more complementary because one's deep, one isn't. And I really think the reason is, I've seen it an awful lot, is I think that they're both curious about the other. Because Gemini is kind of like hiding itself behind this trickster like Bob Dylan. And Scorpios are always hiding the true self because they don't want anybody to make them vulnerable. And I think after a while, the Scorpios learn that the Geminis aren't as deep as they thought, and we have to see where the relationship goes from there. But I do see a lot of times where these relationships have been successful. And I think one of the reasons is Gemini lightens up the Scorpio. And Scorpio is very heavy, dude. There's no sign more heavy emotions than Scorpio. So I think it lightens the Scorpio, and the Gemini get more intense and deeper through the relationship with the Scorpio. Okay, so we don't know a lot yet, and you don't want to start assuming stuff. All we know now, there's a lot of Gemini and there's a lot of Scorpio. We don't want to take this any deeper yet, because you're going to go deeper and you're going to start promising yourself to the chart and you're not able to interpret it. So right now we know we got both. It's not uncommon. This is not uncommon. The chart's pretty rare with having all that Gemini, I will say that. But I'm showing you once again how powerful a chart changes when there's a planet on an angle. If that Pluto were 10 more degrees inside the first house, you wouldn't have this. It's so strong on the ascendant. Okay, so it tells me that in past lives already, that John was a digger. He was a psychologist. Pluto, Scorpio is the sign of the psychologist, the digger, the investigator, the criminal investigator, the one who looks behind the scenes. All right, leave it there. Now let's go on. I know Linda's paying special attention because she has Pluto rising in her Libra chart. Okay, you have Venus pretty close to the ascendant. The Venus is in Aries, which is a fiery sign, which I like. And what do you got? The moon? Look at where the moon is. The moon's in Scorpio. So now we got all this Scorpio by Pluto. Now you got the moon pretty much by itself in the fourth house of the emotions. Now we get very, very deep emotions. Now, right away, we know without a doubt that John is not a typical Gemini. Geminis get boiled all the time about, why don't you have any feelings? Especially Gemini men. Where are your emotions? You talk about things. Where are your feelings? Okay. Well, you got moon in Scorpio, you got deep feelings. I'm telling you, without a doubt, the number one word that Geminis use in every sentence is the word interesting. And I have worked for years trying to understand what that word means. Think about what that word means. I mean, I'm not stupid. On Thursdays, I'm not. What does it mean to be interested? It kind of means that you're interested, but you don't want it to really bathe all over you. You're kind of interested, but you want it at a distance. You keep it at a distance, intellectual level, emotional level. Now, if you read the Exquisite Zodiac, the main reason I wrote that book was I wanted to solve my Gemini mother. I wanted to solve where in the hell has she been coming from all these years? I'm going to just go right to the point. The first sign of the zodiac is fire. Wow, look at these things I can do, Aries. The second sign of the zodiac is you, Tauruses, Sarah, getting planted, being firm, getting rooted. The third sign, wow, I got a mind. Look at this, I got a mind. I can do all these things. The third sign in general, as a sign, is not ready for emotions. Now, it doesn't mean the rest of the chart can change, but in general, as a Gemini archetype, it's not ready for emotions. So here's what happens, and my question was, and I went all over the country trying to get this question answered on this book. And I mean, I called a lot of astrologers. Why are Gemini the twins? Oh, because there's two of them. Well, but why? Why are there two of them? There's one scale, there's one lion, there's one goat. Why are there two? Oh, there's two of me. Yes, there is. Okay, why? Nobody could answer it. So I took it on. And I think I answered it. I'm even to this day not sure. And that's 10 years ago. Because it's so difficult. Because it's so elementary. Here's what I came up with, and I think I'm close anyway. Gemini is the sign of mental exploration. Look what I can do with my mind. Wow, and I got to tell you about these things I just found. I better call Erica, tell her these things I just found. Ooh, neat. You call your friends, I'll call mine, and the word spreads, the communicator. Well, what happens with Gemini, which is why they want things that are interesting, is they get in deeper than they thought. No matter what you're analyzing, whether it's a cactus tree, whether it's a park bench, whether it's a baseball game, whatever you're doing, you're objectifying everything. Watch the president. He's always doing, making an object of everything. That's what Geminis do. But before you know it, you're related to it. That's what happens. You can analyze, but you didn't take it in. You didn't bite off more than you can chew, and all of a sudden you bit off more you can chew, and the next thing you know is you're related to it. Now you realize that you can't maintain objectivity. That now you got to be subjective. Oh hell, what do I do now? And this is why Geminis are known for being slippery. They're known as changing the subject all the time. And it's not something malicious. They just can't handle it. Now, John's different because John's got all the Scorpio. But the typical, that they catch you. And Caroline's. But what happens is they end up getting emotionally involved with the subject. They can't handle it, so they look for a way out, and they escape it. Because the next sign, Cancer, the fourth sign, is when we get introduced to water and feelings. So this is where it comes from. I've written a lot about it. I've done a lot of research on it. John is quite different because John has the moon in Scorpio, and he's got the strong Pluto. So we know where you look. I'm teaching you about John's chart. I'm also teaching you about basic Gemini. John, is this making any sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right. One of the very nice things about this, and I don't play around. If you watch my show, welcome all you people on YouTube. Let me tell the people this before I forget. You YouTubers, let me get this out of here. You YouTubers, if you ever want to join us Thursday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern, it's free. Just go to this line. Go to starself.com/unplugged. Or you can just put Astrology Unplugged into Google and it will take you to the link. And you can join us live on Zoom on Thursday at 8 o'clock. All right. Here's one of the really nice things. Scorpio is really about merging. And when you do have an astrology office, and when you do psychology, and when you do psychiatry, whatever you want to talk about, this is the number one thing in people's lives. People want to be intimate with somebody else. At least they think they do. And what it really is replacing, what it really, in my opinion, is, I'll ask Doc about this one. People really want to be intimate with their God inside themselves. But that's a really big challenge. And that's not for tonight's discussion. But the problem with Scorpio is me wanting you can turn into, I got to have you. You got to go downtown with a Scorpio and they'll stop and go, oh, you'll go, what? I got to have that purse. They won't go, wow, there's a neat looking purse. There's a nice looking suit. Oh, I got to have it. You'll hear this from them. This is very Scorpionic with people. I need it. I don't need it. You just want it. I need it. That's how passionate Scorpios are. So what I'm saying is, what starts out as a normal urge to merge can become vampiristic. This is what can happen with Scorpios. It happens with about 70% of the men and about 50% of the women. The healthy ones can maintain the distance, have the relationship, and merge without eating up the other one. You've heard people say, oh, I loved her so much I could eat her up. You've heard, that's where it comes from. I'll get you to eat her up. Well, it's kind of scary. I don't want to be et. So, Scorpios have to watch, and that's why when you have a Scorpio, you really do prefer one planet there, just the sun, nothing else. You don't want too much there, because then the fever is so strong that they can't help themselves, and it becomes compulsive. And then it turns into vampiristic. So what you have with most Scorpios, they're either vampiristic and they're using you and they're sucking your psychic power, or they're the really good ones. They're really good and they're really strong and they're really powerful and they got themselves corralled and they've got themselves functioning because of one thing, and that is compassion. They've got compassion working. And I'll tell you, whatever you think about John, I haven't even got him, I'm doing this on purpose. John has a library, and John is Mr. Walking, Driving Library in his community. I don't even care what he says. He's just got loads of information. But deep down inside, John's got a deeper level to his library, okay? It's deeper than just the Gemini facts. So one of the really good things about the Gemini-Scorpio mix-up in his chart is the Gemini keeps him wider. He starts to get where he wants to consume. That instinct comes out, and the Gemini pops out of it, and the Gemini keeps it light. Thank God. So this is a really good thing. It's not easy to mix all this Gemini and the Scorpio together, but that's one of the really favorable things about having these two. Now, did you notice I've spent all this time just because his Gemini is so strong and his Scorpio is so strong? I don't need to look at your stuff yet. I mean, that's how important these things are. And that's why a lot of being an astrologer is, how do you weight things? How do you know if this is important or that's important, that's weak enough? That just comes through seeing thousands of charts. And I guarantee you that's his story. There's a lot of Scorpio, there's a lot of Gemini. Okay, so now, one of the things that we have to address now is this. Scorpios and Virgos can't stand weakness, and they can't stand you being unthorough. Start the damn job, finish it. Start the job, finish it. If you don't, you're weak. And who knows what's going to happen. Gemini's not that way. Geminis have 57 books halfway open on their nightstand. That's how Geminis are. They're not here to finish something. They're not here to finish something. They're here to open this up. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, open up. Look at that. And it may seem weird to you, but a Gemini can read about plants one night, read about traffic patterns the next night, read about the black race the next night, and start making connections. They start to learn that way. Very similar to Aquarius. Aquarius is so brilliant that what Aquarius does is learn one thing deeply, and they pick up all the principles of it and can apply it to everything else. So let's go back to John's chart. All right. So we see, I'm going to get to the point here in a minute, a very powerful moon in Scorpio, which is in the 4th house. So this tells me that he's got very powerful emotional experiences from his upbringing. The nadir is your upbringing, it's your past, etc. Now I'm going to show you something. We're going to jump ahead. In astrology, there's one way to progress a chart, which is looking forward into the future and telling what will happen. There's another way, it's called a direction. It's called a primary direction. And what you do with a primary direction is totally based upon the accuracy of your birth time, is you subtract the degrees between the two questionable planets. And between the moon and the nadir, how many degrees are in between here? So you can move that moon 1 degree per year, either direction, and it will run into that nadir. And the moon is the mother, usually. So we got 13 Scorpio, we got 16 here, so we got 14. So we got age 27. At age 27, so let's make age 26, 27, 28. In that range, something happened, big deal with who he was living with a woman. And it's changed his whole life. What happened around that age, John?
Around 27.
26, 27, 28.
That's my second marriage.
Second marriage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, may I ask the sun sign of the first marriage?
I forget her birthday.
You don't know?
It was a disaster. The whole thing was a disaster. But
Wow, that's kind of common. Okay, yeah. What's the second person's sun sign?
Virgo. Well, sun sign
I want to know the sun sign.
Yeah, I don't know that because I don't know the time.
Okay, I don't care about the time. What's the birthday of the second person?
November 13th.
Did you say November? Scorpio.
Scorpio, yeah.
Okay. Did you see how the procrastinator joined with Pluto? And here comes a Scorpio. When Pluto is on you, it usually works through a Scorpio. When Neptune is in your chart activated, it usually works through a Pisces person. When Uranus is activated, it usually is delivered by an Aquarian. Usually. So this is no happenstance. What did this mean in John's chart? Since the moon progressed and lined up with Pluto, it meant that John at age 27, 28, was ready to go deeper emotionally. That's what it meant. And this person came into his life to show him that he was ready to deal with deeper emotions. And remember, Geminis aren't usually ready for that. They're not made for that, but he's got a moon in Scorpio. So we saw right away by directing your chart that the moon and the nadir conjoin. Okay. Did you two move in together?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the nadir is the home and the dwelling and the nest. Okay. Let's hold on for a minute, leave that alone. Go back to the chart. Now, we see that Chiron is a 10 and Pluto is a 3. And Chiron, remember, there are two sides. Let me take my time because I am teaching. Chiron has two sides to it. One side, it's very popular for being the wounded healer. It oftentimes shows you where your wound is. And Chiron returns at age 51. And at age 51, that wound either gets worse or it gets better. That's why you see a lot of people having a crisis at age 51. A lot of people die when they're 52. Lots of people. The other side is one I'm interested in. The other side is the hero's journey. What is my destiny? What should I be doing? That's what interests me about Chiron. Okay? Now, when you watch Chiron, keep that in mind. I want to do a sidetrack. 1 minute, please. I want to do a sidetrack before I forget it. Pardon me. It's a change in subject, but I'll get back to Chiron. I want you all to know this, and I'm going to probably do a show just about it. There is so much happening right now at 24 Capricorn with Saturn and Pluto that I don't care what's going on in your chart. Somebody has dropped an atomic bomb in your chart at 24 Capricorn. Okay? I don't need to even talk about it. So what I'm going to do is a show on 24 Aries, 24 Taurus, 24 Gemini. I'm going to do a show. If you look at your life and you look at where Pluto is at 24 Capricorn in your chart, somebody has dug up and augured a great big hole in your chart, and that's what's going on in your chart. All right, now let me get back to Chiron. You had a question, John?
Something happened when I was 57, which is really
57 is two Saturns.
Two Saturn.
Saturn and then Saturn a second time. Yeah, this is very common. All right.
It's something mystical.
All right, well, that's completely expected with your chart. Okay, now we got to dig in here. What do these things mean? Okay, the Venus is up here. It's 8 degrees from the midheaven. Probably around age 8 or 9, John got introduced to art. He may have started writing poetry, but artistic things started to interest him. The midheaven moved. These things move forward and backward, doesn't matter. Age 2, Uranus hits Saturn. Age 6, Uranus hits the sun, probably when he goes off to school by himself. When you're dealing with the milder planets, you don't worry about Mercury and Jupiter. You worry about the big stuff. Okay, when Mars hit Pluto, when was that? Mars had 11 degrees plus 4. Age 15, Mars ran into Pluto. That would have been no picnic, and that could have been a real challenge to his maleness. Did something happen like that at age 15?
I went to the seminary.
Okay, I did the seminary.
Yeah.
All right, doesn't surprise me at all. Now here's a really major one, spiritually. Neptune ran into the moon. When Neptune hit the moon, 3 plus 13, is that right? I'm sorry. 33, 33, 3, 43, 33, 43, 46. H46, a major spiritual development, like the clouds opened up for him. 1988. Neptune ran into the moon. 1988, give me a year either way.
That's when things started to happen.
Okay, what do you mean things started to happen?
Started having mystical experiences.
Exactly, and it's not because you started having mystical experiences, it's because Neptune hit the moon and you started having mystical experience, and they're one and the same. The timing was right. It unfolded. It just unfolded. Now, those things are happening in Trump's chart, but he doesn't have the ability to understand it, so he's working with the shadow side, which is deception and confusion and lying. Okay, now, one of the things that's happening now, let's see, you got a real positive mind that's interested in travel. You got an 11th house chart, lots of 11th house planets. You're really good with groups, working with groups. When you get in a group, you become the librarian. You become the guy that does the research and all the information. That's just what you do. That's what you're good at. You're the digger. And look at this Pluto being next to his planet, this is his planet of destiny. And Pluto's 7 degrees away from it. So I can guarantee you it's almost 4 and 10 is 6 degrees. I can guarantee you around age 6, you got an auspicious knowing of what you wanted to do. Age 6 or 7. Because Pluto ran into Chiron. Make any sense? Age 6?
That's hard to remember.
Oh, I know it is, and it'll come to you. Okay, now, what I want to point out to you is 2 things that are going on now. All right. Venus is in Aries. Okay, Venus is square to Pluto widely. Venus is 8 degrees from the midheaven. But what did I tell you? Pluto's sitting at 24 Capricorn. Pluto's sitting at 24 Capricorn. Right angle to Venus. Saturn, 24 Capricorn. Right angle to Venus. Where's Eris? 24 Capricorn. His Venus is being bombarded. Look at it. This is massive. And it's massive for everybody. But in John, he particularly happens to have really powerful change going on now. This is why he's being read for. So right now, Eris is sitting at 24, right on Venus. In his whole lifetime, Eris has only gone from here to there. This is his birth chart. This is where the planets are now. So Eris is pounding on his Venus, and this is why he's having his reading. It's not because I chose it. He's ready for it. Pluto, these guys are going back and forth over each other. They're going Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto. They're all going back and forth for a year at the 24th degree. So they're all squaring Venus. So his Venus is going through tremendous revolution. 3 planets squaring it, Eris sitting on it. Okay, what does that mean? All right, when your natal Venus is in the 10th house in Aries, it means Venus in Aries, I don't wait around. I go shake people's hands before they stick their hand out. I am somewhat aggressive in getting to know people, etc., etc. You have to watch the rest of the chart, of course. But Pluto's on his Venus now. Venus in Aries is a very selfish planet. I don't mean that negatively. It's a selfish planet. It means it's self-oriented. It learns from itself. It learns about itself through itself. When Pluto's on it, and Eris is on it, and Jupiter's on it, and Saturn are on it, four of them, all of a sudden, your Venus doesn't work anymore, John. It doesn't work anymore. And the same with any of you with 24th degree of Capricorn, 24 Aries, 24 Libra. What this means is his chart is ready for his Venus to start taking upon higher order. That's what this means. He's ready for it, or the planet wouldn't be there. The old astrologers, oh, the planet's there now, it's going to kick your butt if you don't do the right thing. That's not how to look at it. The planet's there because he's ready. It's coming up through. It's about, astrology transits are just constant shoots out of a planet. These shoots keep coming out. They keep coming out. So what I'm telling you now is he's had, all these years, he's had a rather simple Venus, which means he's gotten along well and kind of easily with people around him and at work, etc. But now, that won't cut it anymore. He wants, when Pluto's on you, they want deep, heavy involvement or get away from me. It's that simple. Deep, heavy involvement or get out. And Eris is on it. Eris is sitting around on it. And what is Eris? Eris is this new, powerful dwarf planet that's all about, I will not put up with it anymore. I will not put up with weakness anymore. I will not put up with unfairness anymore. I don't care what it is. I won't put up with it. Now, these things are coming out, and what do you think John's doing? John's trying to intellectualize it with 5 planets in Gemini, trying to figure it out. You can't figure this out. The heart's exploding. You don't figure this out. You could try to. Rick will tell you some interesting thoughts, and you can make some notes. But what's happening? Your heart's exploding. Your heart wants to Venus the world. What does that mean? It's 10th house of the world. Your heart wants to Venus the world. It means you want to get past all the BS with everybody and have really good, solid, meaningful relationships with them, or get away from me. It's that simple. But see, the Geminis are very nice. They're very nice people, especially the males. They're very nice. Let's keep it light. Bullshit. You're not going to keep it light now with the Eris on it. And you're not going to talk to it. And remember, the moon's already in Scorpio, so the moon ain't going to have any trouble with it. So let me stop there and ask you, does this make any sense to you, how you've been feeling?
Yes.
Okay, tell me how you've been feeling.
Well, since I just retired, things have changed. I was very, just working.
Please come closer to the computer.
Yeah, I just retired, so I'm going to be deciding what to do.
Okay, what you're doing right now has nothing to do with your retirement. Just looks that way. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I think I'm very spiritual. And,
yes.
I'm, like you said, I'm a Gemini. I could play the clown so people, I don't upset people or tell them what I really think and how I really feel, but bullshit with that now.
You ain't playing that game anymore.
No more games.
You ain't playing that game anymore.
It doesn't matter what I do.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, because it's all how I live and why I do what I do. If I just,
I understand you because I know what to listen for. Go ahead.
Yeah, if I just be a volunteer and help people and do good things to help people and solve their problems.
What about it? If you do that, then what?
If I do that, then I'm living the way I want to live.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you, what's changing is not what you're doing.
I want to change the world, but I can't just snap my fingers and do it.
Yeah, but the way you change the world, because that's a bunch of bullshit. All of us carry this bullshit of I want to change the world. No one's going to change the world. You change yourself, the world gets changed.
That's right.
That's what's changing in your chart. What's changing in your chart is who you are when you Venus somebody. What is Venus? Venus is, do I let you in? Do I let you in, have a nice dialogue with you, or I keep you out? Well, you've had Venus in Aries all these years, which ain't bad. I mean, it's pretty, get involved with people, it's stirred up, etc., but it's not very deep. Well, that you've had it with that. You want deep relationships, meaningful with everybody, or get out of my way. I'm not mad at you, just don't waste my time. Because here's the alternative. Okay? This is exactly what's going to happen if you don't start removing the obstacles to what I'm talking about. Pluto is your evolution. The obstacles are, what are the reasons I'm not doing it? What are the reasons I'm not getting more involved with others? Remember, that moon is down in the fourth house. It's kind of tentative in the fourth house. It's got a Cancer quality. Okay, it can be a little careful. Let's keep everybody at a nice, interesting distance, Gemini. Not anymore. What's going to happen now is this simple. You're either going to remove your blockages, which is true for all of us. Remove your blockages, or Pluto is going to start separating you from all of the support systems you have. That's what will happen. It's happening to the United States. You notice Europeans don't think much of us anymore, and we're breaking off relationships with who and all this stuff, and they really don't care. I found out tonight they've written on the sidewalks. They've written on the sidewalks in London, America needs a chaperone. Americans need an adult to go with them, whatever they're doing. And it's the truth. So, John, what I'm trying to say to you is not so much that I blow people's mind during a reading. What is interesting, and Pam can tell you this because I read 100 times for Pam, is I tell you how important it is. Yes, that really is a big deal. I had a woman yesterday, and the chart was just on fire. And I said to her, if you were 400 years old and I was 405, I would ask you what happened in 2020. So I put it in perspective. And she said, really? I said, that way all these outrageous things you're doing now have perspective. And yes, you're accurate. Yes, you're right. Or if I hear them talking like that and the planets are idle, that never happens. And I say, well, we better get some medication. So, John, you should be feeling an absolute fire. And what's tough about this, it's tough for anybody to have Pluto and Eris on anything. And that's why the world's being shaken up so heavily now. Even the astrologers aren't talking about Eris. They're not even ready for it yet. You have an absolute revolution going on inside of you emotionally and relationship-wise. And that means marriage, that means friendships, that means all your relationship to your dog, all your relationships in your life. All your life you've been building up all this information about relationships. How do people relate? Data. No more. It's about, now I got to input it. Now I got to learn how to fuse with it without getting lost in it or eating the subject. Your thoughts?
I'm overwhelmed.
Okay, I know you're overwhelmed, but we knew this was going to happen because it's time for it. And frankly, I'm not going as deep as I could because it's too public. And in person, I would go a whole lot deeper. What I'm saying to you is this, and what's so good about this is I know what you should be feeling, and you are feeling it. That's a very good sign. What I'm saying to you is you got big bubblies under your sidewalk. There's big bubblies under there. And the dandelions are making their way up through the sidewalk. And there's no stopping it because you've waited long enough, and it's time now. And this is why you could not get a reading a week ago or 2 weeks ago or a month from now. It had to be now. And see, this is what we like to talk about. We're so full of S in the West. We like to talk about how we're connected by angels and we're connected to God and all that. But by God, we really want to just be individuals. We just want to be singular. We don't want that. We have to talk about it. Well, this shows you are connected. You're connected to all of it. And when Pluto hits you like this in Eris, the collective is now choosing John for a big time job. So that's why you're going through this new Venus, is because the collective has a great big job for you to do, and you can't do it with the blockages with you. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
Capiche?
Capiche.
All right, now tell me what you think about what I'm saying.
Well, it all makes a lot of sense, and I haven't put this together for myself, but I know that it's time for a big change.
Okay, and what I've read about your background, et cetera, seminary, you're going to handle this fine. I don't have any doubt. This is really a mouthful. This is very tough, but the world's in bad shape and it needs John. I'm not being dramatic. That's what this means. Show him that sign, Kim. What's that sign say?
Kim.
She shows signs. Okay.
I don't see Kim's sign.
Lean not on your own understanding. Okay, perfect. Don't try to go to your Gemini library when you're going through this change. This is what the hell's the guy's name? This is Dante Inferno. That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to get on a soapbox, but I do know this. I'm going to say this. You cannot handle this by yourself. There's no way. It ain't possible. And that's why you got me tonight. And you got us. This is such a pile of pent-up, passionate explosion. Just say to whatever you want to call him or her, I can't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you will help, and I'm giving it to you. And tomorrow I'll get in my little go-kart. You tell me where to go. That's what this is.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm telling you, this is so powerful. I'm going to stop right here.
Okay, good.
Because the other things are so minor in comparison. That's why I do readings, and almost every reading I do, the reading is solved around the 40th minute, and the 70th minute, it's over with. It's amazing how it works. We come to an end at the 70th minute. You're right now at the 55th. Most readings end at 70, and that's because. Oh, I do want to say one more thing before I go, because it's really a big deal. I almost forgot it. Let me show you. This is really big, but in comparison, it's really minor, but it's really big. Uranus is at 10 of Taurus now. See Taurus? See 10 of Taurus?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to oppose your moon next year. Well, what's it doing now? It's squaring your Chiron. See the square? The Chiron. What does that mean? I'm not going to get into real complexity. It means it's time for you to loose your mission. It's time for you to do all the things you've been talking and screaming for in your heart all these years. It's time to do it. And I will tell you this with absolute certainty. If you start 1 step, 2 steps, you will be helped. Absolute certainty. So this reading should shake you up because it's earth-shattering planets. You see, what are the odds that Pluto and Saturn are together? That's the start of World War I, start of World War II. Pluto opposite Saturn, 9/11. What are the odds Pluto and Saturn together? And throw Jupiter in there. Okay? All three of them. And we're having a Pluto return within the next few months, really. And Eris is square to it. Eris is squared by all three of them. The odds are astronomical. And I'm just going to tell you right now, because I'm getting asked this a lot. I have no idea if we're going to survive all this or not. None. I don't know. It doesn't look good, given that we got to get 350 million chaperones sent to America quickly.
And we have the age of Aquarius coming.
Oh, forget Aquarius. That's what we need. We're not ready for Aquarius. We're not. We're ready to take some of these planets off the chart.
Yeah.
What this has shown me recently is what babies we are. These people screaming about their mask. One guy came in with a gun. Anyhow, God bless America. I have no idea if we're going to survive it or not. The reason I say it is we're awful sick. We're really been cut up and cut up and cut up on the surgery table, and there's more and more and more stuff coming out. I don't know. And I told you months ago, I prayed for intervention. I just did not know it'd come as a virus. I was reading tonight on Facebook, this Southern preacher with a mega church is thankful for having the black people all these years because we were able to build our country on their backs. And I did his chart, and it was all Saturn and the moon. I couldn't believe this idiot. He just didn't get it at all. We were thankful, and maybe we should bring it back. And we white people don't want to pick the cotton. And I was just disgusted. And I'm glad because now people are going to pour messages onto his website, as they should. I'm going to get serious for a minute. John, your chart is a powerhouse. It's not anything like most people. And it means that you've been around a long time. And I'm going to keep digging because I don't care. I'm going to dig. Let me show you your past life chart. Now, what I call past life chart, I do this kind of work. I'm not answering your question, Susan, right now. Okay. John's chart. John's 12th harmonic. Okay. Okay, and John, I'm just going to put it to you as clearly as I can. It's not really a past life chart. What I've discovered with the 12th harmonic, which is a derivative of the birth chart, it is like a spiritual transcript. What have you been doing all these lifetimes that led you to take this one in the 1950s or the 1940s? And what do we see in this chart? We see tremendous spiritual growth, tremendous spiritual interest in Aquarius. You're interested in the other, bringing all of us to spirit. This is a marvelous sign. Look on the ascendant, Uranus there, almost too radical. These are a historical look at an overview of all your lifetimes before you take this new one. But this is almost on the corner, throwing a Bible up and down. Got to keep an eye on this one. The sun is in Gemini in the third house. So you've been doing this for a long time. You've been convinced for a long time what you needed was more information. And you don't. You did, but not now. Your answer now is not about getting more information. You're going to topple over top heavy. You don't need more data. Now it's all time for the heart to lead you. That's Pluto. That's the emotions. Look at this chart. It's all based on the moon in Virgo, bucket patterns of the moon in Virgo, which is service to others. And this Chiron is opposite Venus and Mercury. So there's an awful lot of beautiful work towards others. But what's so interesting about this chart is everything in the chart points to Saturn and Taurus. Look at this, Saturn and Taurus. Everything points there. And if we go back to March of 2018, May of 2018, Uranus entered Taurus. And here you got a big triangle all pointing to 0 Taurus. Your Saturn is 0 Taurus. And here comes Uranus. Boom! May 27th, 2018, Uranus hit the sensitive spot in your past life. And what that means is during that date or within a couple of days, you had the ability to cast off your past life shackles. That's what happened. and they could have just shattered on that day, or they could have got thicker. But the past life Saturn is the whole chart's firing all this, and you got all this fire going on in your past life. You got a great big huge brake pedal. What the hell's a brake pedal for? It's like you got all this talent and all this information. And I think what the chart is saying is, oh, I can't let off the brake till I need more information. I need more information. I need more information. And what we're seeing now clearly is it ain't time for more information. And what's so lucky about your chart is when you're going down the road and when you're spiraling up a mountain or whatever, when you need something, it's going to come to you. I had a God experience 10 years ago and felt him looking through my eyes. Oh my God, stunned. But I realized, boy, if I didn't have all that information I had and all those books I read, I identified it right away. And I was shocked because I didn't expect it to manifest like that. It lasted 3 days. But because of my information, it was there. So that's what I'm saying to you. You don't need to strain to understand. And that moon in Virgo and that 12th harmonic, you want to put it to use, write it down, make sure you do it right. That's what's going on in your chart. That's what's going on in your chart. It's time to start to retire the brain and thank it. Have a great big damn party for it. Show your sign again. Don't rely on your own understanding because your own understanding is limited. We're all just really tiny brains in this universe. Rely on the big brain. You know what I'm talking about. You've been in the missionary. I don't have to tell you. So let me hear from you. What do you think?
I
Oh,
totally
you go like this if you want to.
I'm gonna go like that, but I totally agree. I think my mind is like God now.
Is what?
My mind is like God. I have the mind, what they say, the mind of Christ. I have that.
It is the mind of God, exactly.
And I don't
Or,
need to think. I don't need to think. And when I think, that's when I'm in trouble.
exactly. And what does the Course keep telling us? That thoughts leave not. The Course keeps telling us one statement. Thoughts leave not their source.
Right. That's exactly right.
Which means every thought you had, it ain't your brain.
Exactly.
Well, this is a wonderful sign, John.
So this just confirms what I think.
Well, that's why you're getting the reading. That's marvelous. But now what you got to do is the following. You got to get that Venus clear. Pluto's on the Venus and Eris is on the Venus. And what that means is if you have socializing skills or socializing non-skills that are stopping you from having this heart experience, then they got to go. They got to go. Period. If they're good and they're strong, fine, welcome them. But if there are blockages there, they've got to, not only do they have to go, but like the snake shedding its skin, they're going to just fall away. They're just going to. So I think you're in tremendous shape. What questions do you have?
None.
There's the perfect answer.
I'm not going to be a Gemini.
There's the perfect answer. Notice he didn't say, oh, but what's going to happen? But what am I going to do? Because he knows
No question.
he's going to be told.
I know.
Now, I want to stop right there. Been a marvelous reading so far. Anybody can ask a question now about what you've seen in this chart. I don't want to get general. I want to work on what we did tonight in that chart. And what I want to reiterate is 3 massive planets are bombarding that Venus. And what that means is, I don't care how healthy that Venus is going to have to start lifting great big weights. Okay, it's being required. You see, when the outer planets hit us, like Pluto and Neptune, they're hard to talk about because they're part of the collective. And the collective is a mess now. And what the collective gods are doing, because they're very smart, is they're starting to give work to Kim Wilson. They're starting to give work to Mr. John. They're starting to give work to Pam and the rest of us. And it's our ability to, one, sense it when it's there, and two, get rid of the obstacles, because we're all so different. And that's why astrology charts are good, because it can itemize it for us. But we're all seeing this mess. And I think one of the big things that we really need to learn, what I'm studying, we can't save the world. Can't do it. And actually, it's a cop-out. It's a way of avoiding yourself. So if you got any questions about what I've read tonight, John, anybody, please raise your hand. Come on, don't be chicken now. Come on, Linda. You always got 10,000 questions. I can't unmute you. And I wrote to them and they won't answer me.
Myself. Honestly, I don't have a question, because I thought that I thought that what we learned was so powerful. And the thing that, I'm amazed at some of the parallels between John's chart and mine,
You
because
got Pluto rising, yeah.
I have Pluto, I rising, and my moon is right on the ascendant in Scorpio, and I have 4 planets in Libra in the 11th house, not Gemini, but Libra, which is also it's
the thinker.
And 4 degrees from Scorpio, and between Scorpio and the sun in the same sign. And what's on the bottom of my chart is Chiron. So it's, I think, first of all, just reminding us to pay attention to those angles and what's going on there, and then having us look at those sort of stelliums of planets and looking at at what's in them, and then looking at the distances between planets, especially the faster moving ones that hit the slow moving ones as they're coming around. And once you start to do that, then you have a little bit more of a understanding. I just gave your book to a friend of mine. I actually had to order, because all my print copies I give away. I have my real one is on my Kindle, but I give away.
I got a box in my trunk. I give them all away. I don't sell any books.
Well, next time I see you, I'll buy 5 of them and I'll put them.
Oh, I wouldn't know what to do.
Well, I got this from Amazon. I had it sent, but what I wanted to do is give her a little time, and then I'm going to write her and tell her that she should be watching your show, and that the important, it's not just the signs, it's about it's a more complex thing. So I have to sort of write to her about that. So I'm thinking about what I want to say.
Let me show you something magnificent, Linda. Watch this. John, I did your solar return. You just had your birthday back in Gemini, and a solar return is really accurate. You can ask Pam, because I'm going to pick on Pam, because I read for Pam at least several times a year, and Pam loves me and I love her. Now, your solar return is a snapshot of your last birthday. Not by calendar or time, but when the sun is back at the same exact spot. And it predicts your next year and is really accurate. Wait till you see your chart for next year. I'm glad I remembered to show you this. Okay, here's the chart right there. Okay, do you see how you got 3? There's the 3 Capricorn planets. 1 has gone into Aquarius. There's the moon. Everything's a T-square. Okay, but where's everything dumping out? Where's everything dumping out? To Chiron, no, to Eris and Aries in the 11th house. Everything is about Eris and Aries. What does that mean? That means that this next year, it's interesting, you're going to do your thing, but a lot of people, how do I say this? A lot of people, when their mission launches, they got to go through a time period of personal evolution first. Not you. You've done that. What's going on in your chart is all going to Eris in the 11th house. What that means, everybody go to John's house. Everybody. John's going to lead us to the promised land. Damn it, get in line. That's what that means. I don't care how reserved you look, or how gray-haired you and I both look when I have hair, or how laid back you look. That's what the chart says. You're going to start leading. And this is like machete in the woods. leading.
That's the way I feel.
Well, that's time to do it. You see how accurate these charts are? And can you believe, I'm going to get fanatical for a while. Can you believe how many people in this world have never had a chart done? It's just unbelievable. But that's something I have to live with. So it's very much validation for you, John. I don't know what you want to do. We can get into readings later and get more itemized, but it's time for you to go and do. And I really loved how you didn't question this stuff. You just knew it was hook, line, and sinker. You knew where it was coming from. And it ain't coming from me.
I know what you said was true. I don't understand how it came to be so.
I have no idea how it works.
That's my
Quantum field is how it works. That's how it works. Through the quantum field.
I just know. I just know.
That's beautiful. And do you want to know what knows in your chart?
What?
It ain't your Mercury. It ain't your Sun. It ain't Gemini. What planet knows is Pluto. No, it ain't Aquarius. It's Pluto. Pluto. Did you ever try to bullshit a Scorpio?
My wife is a Scorpio, and I can never bullshit her.
Did you ever try to bullshit a Scorpio and they're looking directly at your bullshit? No, that's got its good and bad, but it's Pluto. And when my Pluto got activated in my readings, all of a sudden I went from thinking to I know. I said, it ain't that. No, it's not that. It's this. And boy, that takes a long, it took me 20 years. Okay, who's got questions? Come on, Marcia, bud. Come on, you people rubbing your chins and stuff. Who's got questions? Step up, step in. One thin dime and you win. I'm on the Wildwood, New Jersey boardwalk. It's 1971. Step up, step in. 25 cents, one thin dime. Go ahead, Marcia.
So with the 24 degrees,
Yes.
Saturn and Pluto and Eris,
Yes.
hitting everybody on the
Yes.
planet.
Everybody.
Once it gets out of that degree of 24,
Mm-hmm.
it starts to change, right?
In a minor way. It's so god awful powerful. It's going to be, do you want the earthquake happening here or do you want it a mile away? It's
So
going to start to change. It's going to shift. But
Yeah.
the overall emphasis is just huge.
Because all those heavy planets being at the same degree.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see Jupiter move on into Aquarius, and you're going to see Saturn do the same, and Pluto's going to move a little bit, and Eris moves very slowly. So you largely have, remember the Pluto return is at 27. It returns to where it was in 1776. It's going to return to that degree. So everything's at 24, 25, 26, 27. Everything's right there. And the Pluto is going to be going over that degree, and the Eris is going to be squaring it. So in this particular case, Marcia, you don't have to even think about this. This is an era. This is an epic. And what does it mean? And I told you last week. Everybody get on your stallion because the ponies are gone. That's it. And they rode it on the sidewalks in London. We need babysitters. I want to go to the beach. Open the beach. Yeah, well, look at the numbers in Florida. What are you going to do with the kids? So while Neptune's squaring Mr. Trump's chart, we're all under this Neptune haze. We got to have a bunch of people like John going around going, shh, 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 wake up, wake up. So what's your question, Marcia? You have a good question. And in most cases, you would start to see separation. And when separation happens is when the real events start to happen because the combination of the planets explode. But in this case, this is so enormous, mainly because of Eris, that you're going to be looking at various levels of strata of social change, economic change, people change, country boundaries change, all kind of stuff's changing. But the main thing changing is in here. What's really changing is we're all getting, this is a special group here. This is a God-sent group here. We are prepping. We're prepping because we're becoming more and more and more able to handle bigger stuff.
Mhm.
This is no beginning class, which is why I taught it and got it out of the way. I don't want to teach it.
Then why does it feel like we're kind of in bondage?
I believe it feels like we're in bondage because of the common denominator.
Right.
My opinion, I think we're just surrounded by so many people that have no idea what we're talking about. And what we have to do, that's my opinion, what we have to do is just march on.
Right.
And that's who put me on this show. I don't know where that happened. Showed up in my chart. It's going to put John on his chart, on his show. It's going to put the Reverend on her show. It's already put Sarah on her show. Erica, I'm not sure where she's going, but she'll be doing her own kind of show somewhere. Linda's already doing her show at the university. I know you're still stirring up all of New York City. Pam, I can't control Pam if I wanted to because she's always stirring stuff up. And I'm not sure what Carolyn's doing. But all I know is it's a wonderful group. It won't last forever. And it's not just wonderful because you're following me teaching astrology, because you understand something deeper is moving, deeper. But what we have to realize is people around us don't have a clue. Don't know what the hell we're talking about. I try to tell people that the plus side of Eris is what you're seeing with the Black Lives Matter. And the negative side is what you're seeing with Trump. And they look at me like I'm crazy. And I understand that. But that's because they've been busy playing video games and putting up curtains and what the hell they've been doing, I don't know. But this is at least some center, right? This is some center here. It's being recorded. It's on YouTube. People can go watch it. We're going to have the Queen of Queens with us in January. She's going to be my guest, Nook Sanchez, on January 3rd. She will be, you'll remember my 100th show, my guest was Nick Garandes. My 200th show will be Nook Sanchez. And you're just not going to find anybody. Her Sun and Neptune are in Scorpio at the same degree. Her Sun and Neptune are in Scorpio at 0 degrees. And she will knock you out with her tremendous oneness with what's above her, her gentleness, her ability to express the course, her knowingness. And I told her, you can get out of this if you don't want to. She said she'd be glad to do it. So I'm thrilled to have her. That will be on show number 200. Okay, let's take any other questions. I'll be bragging a lot about her. Her new book is out now. Any other questions? Go on now. Oh, you chickens. Who else is chicken? Who's got a question? Who's a buck? Come on, Sarah. Come on, Sarah. Unmute yourself and say something to me. Sarah out of Lilydale, the psychic medium. Tell us what's on your mind, Sarah.
I'm just wondering if you see if there's any hope for us, because what I'm feeling lately is that maybe I'm learning to do all my stuff online, because as soon as I can leave, maybe I don't want to live in the United States anymore.
Well, I think that's a very good point, and I should have left about 6 years ago. Sarah, I have to be honest with you. I cannot give anybody my personal opinion. There's no planet out there that says there's hope or there's not hope. If you look objectively at what the planets are doing, it's like lots of doo-doo is heading towards a great big fan. And it ain't heading towards it, it's hit it. I mean, that's objective. But I'm not going to get up and say to people, America's over, or I don't think that that's the proper use of astrology. I don't think it is. You solve your heart, I'll solve mine. That'll solve big things. That's all I know. Come on, Erica. Erica's been behaving way too long. Come on. What's on your mind, Erica?
Well, I didn't have any
Thank you,
questions,
Sarah.
but
Go ahead, Erica.
I didn't have any questions, but just a lot of things came up during the show.
Okay.
Reverend Kim's sign, and what I've learned, the biggest thing that I've learned studying to become a community mental health worker, and that is really, really been one of the most difficult things for me, and it's super simple, and that is just listening. Just cut it out. Stop trying to fix things. Stop trying to tell people what I think, what they should do, all these experiences I've had, all these other people, how they solved it. Just freaking listen.
Wonderful.
Because that's what heals them. They need somebody to listen. Nobody listens.
You know, during the 80s, I came up with this far out idea. I never did this. So listen to this. There were all these different radical types of healing and methods and all this. I was trying to put something together where 3 of us would be paid, say $333 each. 3 of us would be paid, and we would sit there all weekend in a theater while you paid us $1,000, and you go on stage and you tell us your whole life story. You go on stage and all we do is go, yay! Way to go, way to go. You tell us your whole damn life story for 3 days, no one else in the room, taking pictures, whatever, and we just applaud you and we make your ego feel like, damn, you did a lot of good. Look at that. So I think it's really good and a good idea, but I never could pull it off. But I do know how I want to end this, and I came to it very clearly. I want to end tonight's session, and I want to say a special thank you to our YouTubers who stick with us. I think we should end tonight with a big thank you to John. John has been around a long time. John has done a lot of things in the shadows. John has done a lot of things in a very humble way. John is being pointed out tonight not because of what he's going to do, but because of what he has done and because of who he is. And I don't know how else to say it other than thank you for being with us. And you're in the right place, and I'm very happy that you're with us, and I really hope that tonight's message hit home with you. And I'm going to end things for tonight and thank all our YouTubers and everybody. And John, you may want to watch us 2-3 times. Who knows? It'll all be on YouTube in a couple hours. So peace and love and groovy, everybody.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, John?
Namaste.
Okay.
Peace and love and groovy. I like those cats. Look at Pam's cats. Oh, man. Look at
We're
that.
going to survive, and we have
Oh,
hope.
I got to
Even
come
in the
over and
midst
see
of
you.
war.
As soon as the virus goes, I'm going to come see him.
Think
Love
of the
you,
people
everybody.
in London with all the buildings falling down, but they still had hope. We have to have hope.
Good
That's
night,
all there is to
everybody.
it. That's what we're all about.
Good night. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.